whatever dream or goal, no matter how big or small that you may have, go after it. Go after whatever dream or goal that you've got. Go for it. Just go for it. Do it. What is going on? Super duper EQ gangsters. What? For those of y'all that are watching this on YouTube, you can see my EQ gangster sign and my EQ mafia. So I'm in the old studio. Wanted to share about a really neat thing that happened last night. Went to a different Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym, not for me, but for my daughter, trying to kind of check out other Jits gyms to see, because they've also got striking and I want to get her into some striking. And while there, one of the guys I met during the second class that we took, so the first class was fundamentals, second class was the kind of the advanced class, and it was the 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu gym in Colorado Springs. The professor is Professor Tips, I believe. And then the coach that taught the fundamentals class is a guy named Arthur, Coach Arthur, great dude. Both of them, super guys. And let's see, and one of the guys I met during the advanced classes, the advanced class, was a super neat guy named Luis. Luis, great guy. Great personality, super friendly dude. And I was sitting next to him, I was stretching, getting warmed up, whatever. And I'm like, hey man, so what do you do? And he said he's a mortician. A mortician, y'all. The dude deals with dead people. This is what this guy does, man. For me, it's just such a fascinating kind of career. There was a while there that my family, we got stuck on watching a TV show called NCIS, Naval Criminal Investigative Services or something like that. And one of Elena's, my daughter, one of her favorite characters is a guy named Ducky in the TV show. And Ducky is this older guy who is their mortician, and he deals with all the dead bodies, and he does all the autopsies and all that stuff. And so we watched a bunch of these episodes, and it's just, and in this show in NCIS, Ducky, the mortician, he like talks to the dead bodies, right, while he's working on them and doing his research and stuff like that. And it's just a fascinating job. Like you're working on the end of life, right? So folks, this guy, lady who's laying in front of you they lived their life, and some of them lived a full life, some of them did not live a full life, and just so much, right? So many emotions wrapped around what I would think, being a mortician. So anyway, so here's a question for you all, whether you're watching the YouTube channel, watching the podcast, or listening to YouTube, watching the YouTube channel or listening on our podcast. What question would you ask a mortician? So here I was, found myself sitting right next to this guy. He's been a mortician for 10 years, but it's a family business. So his mom, I think, started the business, the mortician business. Excuse me. That he's kind of grew up in it and has like formally and officially been doing it for 10 years. Excuse me, as a mortician in the business. And I thought, man, what question could I ask this guy, who's got probably a very different perspective on life, just with that job, with that fascinating, unique job. And so this episode, I want to share the 2 things that Big Luis, the Mortician from 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu in Colorado Springs, shared with me that I thought were very powerful and insightful. So, simple, not earth-shattering, but powerful and insightful, especially coming from his perspective as a 10-year mortician. And I wish I'd asked him too, like how many bodies has he had to do or whatever. I don't know, what it's called, but so the question I asked him. So what question would you ask a mortician? So the question I asked him, Luis the Mortician, as I was sitting next to him, get my stretch on, I said, Luis, what have you learned about people as a mortician for 10 years? What have you learned about people? And what do you think he told me? One, I could maybe guess. The second one, I would not have guessed. So the first thing he told me was, if you ever have the feeling that you want to tell someone how much you love them, how much you appreciate them, what difference they've made in your life, the impact they've made in your life, do it. Reach out to them and do it. Which was fascinating because one of my previous episodes, recent ones, it may have been the previous episode, was on reaching out and connecting. So it's really kind of interesting how that timing of his comment. And so he said, if you ever get that inkling, the conviction, the tug on the heart to reach out to somebody, past or present, right, that maybe from your childhood or your high school or college or somebody that's impacted you, man, reach out and tell them. He said, Noble, you have no idea. He said, I could almost tell you every single funeral, how many people leave that funeral with regret. I thought, man, because regret is a powerful, powerful emotion. And that is just not an emotion that you want to be carrying. In fact, I remember where I learned this lesson was when my dad died 11 years ago. He was an ER doctor, emergency room doctor for 30 years, and he had a stroke in the ER while he was on duty. If you're going to have a stroke, that's a great place to have it. While the stroke was taking place, he knew what was happening to him. He immediately started to tell the nurses what was going on and how to help him. Okay, nurse, I've got this going on. I got this going on. Okay, this nurse, get ready for this. This nurse, help put this together, right? All the whatever the stuff is, right? And then 6 months later, he died. And in his sleep, which was a blessing, of a heart attack. And one of my thoughts was, of course, I was crushed and sad and everything. But one of the thoughts I had was, man, did I tell him how I felt about him? And did he tell me how he felt about me? Here's the blessing. 3 years before he died, for some reason, I don't know what led him to do this, 3 years before he died, every time we talk on the phone, and I don't remember how often, once a month or a couple times a month, maybe not even that often, unfortunately. But one of the things that that he would say after every single phone call, I love you, I'm proud of you, and I believe in you. I love you, I'm proud of you, and I believe in you. For 3 years, every single phone call prior to him dying. And you know, after a little while, I'm like, okay, Dad, all right, whatever, thank you, like I kind of took it for granted at some point because he would say it every single time. But man, when he died, I'm like, wow, God, thank you so much that my dad made it crystal clear that he loved me, he was proud of me, and he believed in me. I mean, talk about three powerful, powerful things to leave as a legacy into your son, into your children. And I've carried that forward. Many, many of the people that I've spoken to over the years, I let them know I believe in you. And I look at them dead in the eyeballs, and will tell them one of those three things, or maybe even all three of those things. And it's impactful. I've had people when I was doing speaking around the globe. I've had people tell me 5 years later, seeing me speak at a business conference on stage, I come off the stage, I've had this more times than I could count. After I give them my big signature bear hug, where I pray for people, when I hug them, look at me in the eyes and say, Noble, you don't know who I am. 5 years ago at a conference, you looked at me dead in the eyes and told me that you believed in me. And I've never forgotten it. Powerful experience for them, but also for me. Humbling, very humbling. And so one of my takeaways from that experience was I wanted to make sure, just because of how powerful that that experience was for me with my dad, 3 years of him telling me I love you, I'm proud of you, I believe in you. I just want to make sure, man, I want to make sure, like, thank God that my dad and I, like, he could die knowing that he knew, that we all, me and my mom and my sister all knew how he felt about us, because he would do it for each of us. But I thought, man, I want to make sure I do that with other people, that other people in my life know the impact and difference that they've had in my life. And I've kind of slacked a little bit on that, but talking to Luis the Mortician for that reminder, I want to pick that back up again and just be really intentional at letting people who have impacted me or are impacting me, that they are impacting me or have impacted me in a positive way. And the more specific that you can be, the better with this. So I thought that was a powerful thing. Let the people know. Do not show up to a funeral with regret that the person laying in that box died not knowing how you felt about them. For them and for you to have the knowledge that you let this person know this person did not die without you being able to tell them how they made you feel and how they impacted you, and that they were able to die again knowing that you loved them, appreciated them, valued them, cared for them. Number two, the second thing that he told me as a 10-year mortician, he said, Noble, the second thing is that I would say is whatever dream or goal, no matter how big or small, that you may have, go after it. Go after whatever dream or goal that you've got. Go for it. Just go for it. Do it. Do it. And again, what a great reminder. I think it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day, get lost in the minutia, lost in the mundane. I think that's a great reminder for us. And again, how much more of a powerful topic in the emotional intelligence, emotional health space. Why don't more people do that? Why don't more people do that? I'll tell you why I didn't do that for most of my life. which is again why I got this tattoo on my left hand. For those of y'all again on YouTube can see the tattoo on my left hand. Because I was not emotionally healthy enough to do that. Even after I would make an attempt to go after what I thought I wanted, I would self-sabotage. I would self-sabotage with stories, with self-hatred stories, self-condemnation stories, all kinds of things. So the reason I was not able, and I believe the reason why most people are not able or do not pursue their goals and dreams or fall short many times of their goals and dreams is because of their emotional fitness and emotional health or lack thereof. So both of those points that Luis shared, I feel like are impacted by emotional health. I mean, even to reach out and tell someone how they made you feel, man, it could be like, oh, they're not going to care. Oh, come on, it's been 5 years or 10 years since they, or it could have been like, or like the scenario where that guy caught me on the stage, off the stage when he said, look, you don't know me. Because I've told hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that I believe in them and that I love them and that I'm proud of them. Again, paying it forward from my dad. And in many cases, I didn't remember them. So just to know that, man, in that little exchange, how long does it take to say, I believe in you? That was probably 2 seconds, maybe 1 second. Let's say 2 seconds. It takes 2 seconds to say, I believe in you, or I love you, or I'm proud of you. 2 seconds to say each one of those. And what is the impact? What's the impact of that? In my devotions this morning, I read a Spanish fable about a father and son. Father and son had gotten in a fight, arguing, going back and forth with each other, and they kind of parted ways. And the son went his way, the dad went his way, dad lived his life, son lived his life. Then some period of time later, years later, the father's like, man, this is crazy. I need to restore, repair, mend the relationship with my son. Life's too short. I want to repair this. But he lost track of his son. He didn't know where he went. So he takes an ad in the newspaper and says, Paco, this is your father. I am so sorry for the pain I caused you, the hurt I've caused you. I want to make it right. I love you. Please meet me tomorrow at noon at the newspaper place, the newspaper publishing place where they make the newspapers and they push out all the newspapers and stuff. And and so the dad was just like praying, man, let my son see this message. The next day at 12, 800 Pacos showed up. 800 Pacos showed up so that they could make amends with their father. What a powerful, powerful story of the message of reconciliation and restoration of relationships and letting people know how you feel. If you need to forgive someone, man, and I know that's brutal for some people depending on the level of trauma and emotional injury. The power of forgiveness, the power of saying you're sorry, the power of asking forgiveness. So the 2 lessons from Luis the Mortician. Number 1, make sure to reach out and tell someone how they've made you feel. Number 2, go for it. Pursue that goal or dream. My EQ caveat would be continue to get healthier emotionally so that you can have all of your capabilities maximized and optimized to the aim of accomplishing whatever goals and dreams that you pursue so that you don't self-sabotage. And for those of you that are serious and ready to start growing your EQ or continue growing your EQ, your emotional health and your emotional intelligence, please join us at eqgangster.com/mafia, eqgangster.com/mafia to get on the wait list for our membership. It's the impact of being able to grow your emotional intelligence in community alongside other people that are also emotionally dysfunctional to varying degrees, like all of us are, in a safe, supportive, trusting, encouraging community is life changing. eqgangster.com/mafia. Emotionally healthy people help heal other people emotionally.